everybody. This is Lisa Haven, and I've got some startling information to share with you guys that you need to hear in regards to earthquakes here in the U.S. Now, I want to mention something before I get into my topic. Back in June of this year, this is critical to know if you haven't heard this already, but scientists issued a catastrophic warning to FEMA, telling them basically to warn the nation and to prepare that there is going to be an increase in earthquake activities. Let me show you this because it's critical to know this before you move on. Let me show you that post. All right, so here is the post I issued back in June. I'll leave a link so you guys can check that out. But let's go straight to the letter. Now, this is the letter that was issued by, and let me fix the screen here. It was issued by John L. Casey. He's the president of the Space and Science Research Corporation. Not only that, but he is the former White House space advisor, and he issues this to Craig Fugate, the administrator of FEMA. Now, FEMA has still yet to send out this warning, unfortunately, but I believe the National Geographic has sent out the warning, which I'm going to show you in a moment. But he basically says that we believe the USA and the world has now entered the most dangerous period for catastrophic earthquake and volcanic eruptions in over 200 years. In fact, a new trend of increased number and intensity of earthquakes and volcanoes globally has already started and is generating serious concern in the geology field. Now, as you can see, this is a major concern, and he goes on to say that these earthquakes will continue in intensity and continue to increase all the way through 2038 because we are at the end of a solar hibernation period. You guys can read about that. But I don't want to re-get into this, but I want you to know that. Now, with that letter in mind, here's what I want you to know, is that the National Geographic themselves have just issued a staggering warning. And they're basically saying that 143 million Americans live in an area that could be affected by an earthquake. Not only that, but they say that many of them are maybe even unaware of it. But I think the best thing to do is to dive into that report. Let's go there. All right, so here we are on nationalgeographic.com, and the headline reads, "If you think you're safe from earthquakes, well, you may be wrong. It is no surprise that Californians are in danger, but scientists have also flagged residents of Missouri, Tennessee, Arkansas, Illinois, and South Carolina." The report goes on below, and this was written by Michael D. Limenick, that more than 143 million Americans living in quake zones, a new analysis shows that many of them may be surprised to learn that dangerous shaking is possible in the places that they live in. The people face at least some risk of damaging earthquake by the year 2065. That is according to the U.S. Geological Survey reports, and almost twice as many as the 75 million cited in 2006. In other words, it's gone up, and the risk of it has gone up. But Mark Peterson, he is a seismologist, has gone on to state that they have identified that there are 28 million people living where you'd expect to see some pretty strong ground shaking in the next 50 years, which is a really significant number. Then it goes on to state some of the at-risk states, not only California, but Washington, Utah, Tennessee, Oregon, South Carolina, Nevada, Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois. Now, scrolling down just a bit further, here is the earthquake hazard risk within 50 years. Now, let me just stop right there for a moment. This 50-year mark almost lines up with the report that I showed you a moment ago. They said that we could have quakes all the way through 2038, which would fall into that 50-year period that National Geographic is warning us about, saying, hey, all these people live on fault lines and they need to be ready, and they're not exempt. Why are they saying this? It could be because they know earthquake activity is going to be increasing. The Bible says it's increasing. We're definitely going to see it. But according to that report and according to the solar hibernation of the sun, we're about to see some catastrophic earthquakes play out? Are they warning us in a roundabout way? Because I know FEMA has yet to warn anyone about that letter, and that letter needs to go viral even more. But here we are, and National Geographic is issuing their own quake, not to mention the 5,000 quakes that just hit the Northwest area that I'm going to get into in a moment, but hang on for that. Here is basically, you can see the lowest hazard is this gray area, or basically if you live along, I think that's Tornado Alley, or maybe like right here is Tornado Alley-ish. But, you know, it's tornadoes or earthquakes. Which do you pick? But here's the highest areas, of course, along the New Madrid here, along the Cascadia fault line, which Fox News recently came out with a report saying this is going to happen. It can go off any moment, and there's going to be 100-foot tsunami waves, so be ready. I'll show you that as well. But that's definitely here along Cascadia, where they warned about 700 miles in could experience major devastation when this bad boy goes off. Then we have, you know, the San Andreas fault line and all the other fault lines in California. And as you can see, it goes up into Utah, Wyoming, and all these areas. So there is that. Okay, so that's it for this particular report. But let's go ahead and go to the 5,000 earthquakes that have just rocked the Northwest area. Here we are on townhall.com. Make sure you come and read the article in its entirety. I'm just going to focus on the headline here. But more than 5,000 quakes hit northwestern Nevada. And seismologists are saying that this could be basically the big one, or a precursor to the big one, excuse me, although some also believe that it could be related to a series of extinct volcanoes. Now, here's the kicker. These 5,000 earthquakes have been happening for a year. Within a year, they've counted 5,610 earthquakes total that have happened in the Nevada area. And they're saying it's either going to be the big one's going to happen soon, or it's because of these dead earthquakes, or not earthquakes, excuse me, but dead extinct volcanoes. Now, these extinct volcanoes, here's what I found interesting. They have been basically extinct for thousands of years. Now, why, if they've been, you know, not a problem for that many years, all of a sudden are they causing quakes in the Nevada area? Maybe that's why they said it could be a precursor to the big one. I don't know. But we just won't know until it plays out. But nonetheless, I would be prepared in that area if you do live around that area. Just, you know, something to think about. Not to mention this post, which came out a while back. This is ChristianScienceMonitor.com, but it's all over the internet, where the Cascadian fault line, how FEMA is planning for a big quake in the Northwest. Between an 8.0 and a 9.2. This was originally issued by Fox News report, who said that the Cascadian fault line could go off, and I spoke about it earlier, leaving tsunamis, but there is the link for that. So we have something in the Northwest specifically to the Cascadian fault line. Now we also have 5,000 quakes hitting northwestern Nevada that could be a precursor to the big one, or could be due to extinct volcanoes that have been basically extinct for thousands of years, all of a sudden causing an issue. That said, my job is basically to get the information out there to you guys and let you guys do with it what you will. All I know is that when I see reports like this coming out, the best thing I can do is put it up there and say, hey, this is what seismologists are saying. This is what scientists are saying. This is what is happening. Be prepared. Get ready. Something is coming. We just don't know what it is. And you know, ultimately the decision is yours on what to do with that information. But as a reporter and as Christian news reporter, I try to bring you the most accurate news that I can. And I always leave the links below under the words for more information. Anyhow, wanted to bring you the latest on that. This is Lisa Haven signing off.